Welcome to ATB TV. I'm Darren Dance here with Peter Morganti on this Friday afternoon, November 12th, Pete. Well, interesting week. Another week that's flown by and haven't cracked a winner, but we've been running seconds. And I think there was 3 of them, in fact. So I reckon we'll just start off and go through all those runners and let's talk about them all.
Yep. Well, we'll roll back to last Friday, Warrnambool. We had 4 runners. We kicked off with an Irishman who changed his stables from Kirramara and Dave Eustace to Pat Ryan. And, we nearly pulled off a straight-up victory. Big horse with a big weight, big green late. Pat ruled all the gear off, and I think he ruled the fact that he took I think it was a tongue tie off that he might have been thinking he wished he'd kept on. And anyway, he got beaten in the neck. It was a really good result for what we were looking for with a move. A horse like him, it's upside there now. We know Pat's got the horse back on track, and he can start from the 58s and work up through the grades as far as he can go.
Yeah, that was a welcome return to form. I know it was a 58 rating race, and he carried, I think, 64 kilos, but in these ratings races at the moment, it is pretty much high weight racing, because if you're a 62, you won't get a start in a 64 at the moment. So, no, it was good to see him run on there well. And, he's, I think, given the owners a little bit of confidence now that, there is a couple of wins in him. And, we'll look forward to seeing him go around in a couple of weeks.
His comments were interesting after the race. He refers to Kirramara as Curly. He said, if these are the horses Curly's going to start giving away or doesn't want to trade, he said, I'll take them all. So he reckons he's a lovely horse. The next race we had, we had Raise the Colours, in the same race. Obviously, we come off the disappointing first up run where she barely finished at Ballarat. She was a lot better in this race. There's a bit of a gear change. She just still gets, I don't know if it's intimidated or what it is, but she wants to roll in against horses when there's horses around her. She's only beaten 3 lengths, so it was an improvement. But as Paul has said a few times, he said, these race of flags, I keep scratching my head. He said, I'll get to the bottom of her. We know she's got good ability. And I think he plans to race her as often as he can to try and iron out this kink without going over the top.
Yeah, so certainly not better there. With all the gear off, made a big difference to her, and riding her just a little bit quiet too, and just allowed her to run into the race. It was a much better effort. But look, I just think at the moment she's a horse that's just trying to find a form, and she probably won't be any good until she's 4th up, and we just got to get the miles into her legs and get racing into her. And when she won that day at Bendigo, and then she's a filly that ran in the Oaks, so she's got good ability. She's just lost her way a little bit, and she just needs racing to get her confidence up and get the owners' confidence up. So
yeah,
I think if she can continue on this path and get back into the winners' circle, we had high hopes for this filly. So, and one thing now about the race of flags, they just get better with age. So maybe that preparation took a lot out of her. Maybe it's just going to take time. With all the rain around now, she's certainly not going to be on rock hard tracks. So she's going to get a chance to win a race.
Yeah, I think too, if you're a 3-year-old and you drop a bit of form, it's hard when you go to the next level, which is open age benchmark racing. So, but anyway, hopefully we're back on track with her. A little horse that just keeps giving, a bit like Christmas, Darren, Madam Mischief. She's rounded out to be a consistent little mare in her grade. She gives, there's not an inch between her worst and best runs now, and she finished 3rd. Possibly went along a little quick, according to Pat, but when tackled, she certainly fought on.
That was a 64 rating race, I think, and so that was a pretty good effort. I just felt that when you lead like that, you if you get to Warrnambool and you get hard up against the fence, I don't know why, but they seem to just always get you down the centre of the track. So if you're going to be leading on some of these tracks, you just need to know how the rail's playing, and, you know, maybe you need to move out a horse or two off the fence if you can. But I thought her run was brave. She tried her guts out, but just got run over, probably in the last, 50 metres. She's paying away. I don't think she'd owe the owners anything, this mare. And as you know, we're going to run her right through into the end of that Warrnambool season. And then we'll weigh up what we do after that.
Yep. Jericho Days, our next challenge. There's 2 mares races there, which suits ideally more so than these open benchmark races. So we'll look forward to that, which I think is about the 29th of November. We also had Cracksman, who was heading to the Jericho run in the last race, and it was a week which, as it's turned out, the whole preparation's gone to SHIT for various reasons. Was scratched at Cranbourne. Then Lindsay was trying to fill the void with a trial, and then the 1700 metre race. And a few artists have thought, what's going on here? And in the end, after this race, it looks like he may have been bitten by some sea rodent, whether it was a stingray or a jellyfish or whatever. But you're bringing him home next week for him to have a 3 or 4 week spell. So the Jericho and everything else with it is out the window, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. You know, because that was the whole plan, was to get him to the Jericho. But yeah, the whole plan's just been aborted now, and he'll come home and have a month off, and then I guess he'll be aimed towards the Warrnambool Carnival, I guess, in the autumn. But just had no luck with this horse, really.
No, absolutely. And it's a shame because all indications after Coleraine is that he'll eat up 4,000 metres plus. So anyway, he's only a young horse, maybe next year for the Jericho. Saturday, we went to Flemington, and this race, we'd love to run this again. Hasseltoff finished 12th. Someone was in the crosshairs after the race, naming Lee a jockey. When a horse goes from 1,400 to 2,000, you probably want to give it as kind a run as you would like or can. He was up punching the speed, and look, he was gone 250 from home. Whether he runs 2,000, we don't know, but we certainly didn't get no gauge there.
No, it was horrible to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been a bit of a mess. You know, we were supposed to run Thursday. You know, dodged Thursday because it was supposed to rain, didn't rain. Went to Friday 2,000, probably too big a step up. Jumped out. The rider was at him the whole way. And when they were at him the whole way, he was hell-bent on sort of being 3rd or 4th. And whether that was his doing or the trainer's instructions, you don't know because we're not there. So, you know, he was always going to be gone 200 out, and he dropped out badly. It was horrible to watch and disappointing. So he's pulled up with a couple of sore muscles. So he's gone down to the beach to the water walker, and hopefully we can get him back over the summer now the spring racing's finished. But I think that whole spring preparation was just didn't work out at all, not even close. And I know the weather played a bit of a part in it because it's been a wet spring and still raining now. So it's just hasn't worked out at all the way we wanted it to work out for the horse. So, yeah, he's going to have to hopefully come back into form and compete over the summer period and try and take advantage of that off-season racing to see if we can get a couple of wins up on him.
Yeah, it was, I think it was it earlier this year we're in the off-season, and he was really competitive in those 70 levels when Jamie Carr rode him. So over that mile, 1,700. Look, like I said, no guide with the 2,000 on Saturday, but we know he's very effective over 16 to 1,700, 1,800. We did have a nice result with Street Baby. Probably a bit unlucky or very unlucky. Just when the horses were getting moving, Bo Mertens was held up, had to duck back to the rail, charged the line like an upcoming winner with luck, Darren, over 2,000. But that's 2 seconds in a row with Andrew Bobbin now, and he's doing a really good job with this filly. I think she's settled. She's holding her condition and racing very well.
Yeah, I was up there the other day and knocked a couple off. You know, it's a really nice setup he's got there at the foot of the Grampians, and you know, the horses are so relaxed, and you know, they just the way he goes about it. And like her 2 runs there have been super. I think he felt she probably could have won that race with a bit of luck, but kind of got cut off, and then had to sort of make her own luck, and she's finished off well to run second. Yeah, you feel like she's going to be winning very shortly.
Absolutely. Sunday, we had a couple of runners at Ararat. I'll kick off with, frankly, Rosie, the Frankel Azadi filly with Liam Howley. Look, it was hard to get a gauge on her run, but she was certainly run off her feet. She was chasing sort of all the way. And in the end, I think Jace Maskeel was kind to her, knowing she couldn't win. Liam Howley has said that she'll be much better once he gets to the 14 and 1600. So I think we just take it as, another trial as such, as much as it was a hard watch for the owners.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising down to 1100. I wouldn't have thought there would be a Frankel in the world that's won over 1100. They're typically 1400 plus horses. Yeah, I think we can only treat it as a trial. And I think the proof will be in the pudding when she gets out to 14, 1600. But I think if he had his time over again, he would have tried her again and then just taken her straight to 1400 first up. But yeah, I think that was probably just a bit of a mistake, just throwing her in the deep end over 11, thinking she'd be just better than him. But it just didn't work out.
Yep. We had Dandy Classic also there off the weeks back up after that run at Mortlake, where we were all scratching our heads, and back on top of the ground. She finished 6th, beating, 3 lengths. It was the winner won well, which I think Dean Yendall, Christine rode Dandy Classic. Looked like she might have filled a place there at one stage, but she was okay to the line, and Paul's ready now to step her up in trip. It was a better run, a bit like Raise the Colours. It was a better run than the week before at Mortlake. Well, I reckon it was the track that played its part there.
I think this mare just needs ground. I think until she gets out to 2,000 or 2,400, I don't think we're going to really know anything. So I think next time she goes to 2,000, we'll get a pretty good gauge on where she's at. You could see she was sort of presenting into the race, but just wasn't able to quicken over that shorter distance. And just to my eye, just looked like she just wants that slower tempo where she's not at the top, and then she can really finish off. So being it by Dandino, I think they need 2,000, 2,400, and I think she'll get a chance in the next 2 runs to do that.
Yeah, well, she was going to run on Saturday. Donald will cross that in a minute, but Paul's thinking now there's an 1,875 at Terang next Friday, and Hamilton there's a 2,200, and he wouldn't hesitate throwing her into the 2,200. So we'll get a better gauge then when the tempo's off, and she can use her staying prowess, hopefully. Choco Rock went to Benalla, and my mate Choco, as Johnny McArdle says, he ran a good race. He's a lovely horse, this horse. And look, the winner was Blinkers On. It was one of Kavanagh's, and it had 2 or 3 runs in the prep, and it looked like it was ready to win, and it did. But I love the way this bloke ran through the line hard. It wasn't just a flagging run over 1,100. He hit the line screaming out for 1,400, I would think, looking at that race.
Yeah, exactly right. He did a lot wrong. He's still very green, that horse. He was only ever having his second career start first up. 1,100 is obviously too short, but he's done well to run second. I know they've got a big opinion of the winner. They think it's better than Saturday Class. I think it could be black type Class, the Kavanagh horse. Our horse closed off nicely, but still did a fair bit wrong. I think you'll find he'll have winkers on next start. He'll step up in distance, and being a colt, with that run under his belt, it'll certainly switch him on and trim him up. And I think we'd be going next start being fairly confident that he can get that win on the board, because he said all along that he's a city class horse. So he's just learning how to race and understanding what he's got to do. But for their part of the race, he was on the wrong leg and wobbling all over the joint. But when he knuckled down at the end, he was really good to the line.
can see
got a
him
good
flat.
future.
Yeah, you could see he was on the wrong leg on the corners. He wanted out about 4 or 5 wide, but once he got it all together, he was as strong as the winner through the line. So that's it, Darren. So we had 3 seconds there, and I reckon each of those seconds, Choco Rock, Street Baby, and an Irishman, the foot's on the till.
Definitely.
Righto. Now, we would have had 2 runners today, but we had 2 late scratchings for various reasons. One was a downgrade in the track, so they looked after Miss 10,000. And
well, we know she doesn't. We know she doesn't go any good on the heavy, so David rang me, and we had no hesitation in pulling her out.
Yeah, good move. And the other one was the downgrade of the highway on the way to. The downgrade of a truck on the way down the highway to Kite, where poor old Saab's probably still stuck on the road as we speak. And let's get serious, had to be a late scratching from the 1,800 metre maiden. A racer would have loved to have seen him in just on the back of his, his better effort previously, where he closed off over 1,600.
Yep, he's still parked on the side of the road at Heathcote. Has been for about 4 hours. Got a fuel block or something, so. I think we're just trying to get hold of Christina to get her to go and pick the horses up and take them back to her stables until he got the truck going, because you can imagine having a horse stuck on a truck for 3 hours. It wouldn't be much fun. Bad enough for 5 minutes when you run in to fill up with petrol. So, no, that's just a disaster today. So, yeah, we'll just wipe those 2 off.
Yeah. Look for races next week. Tonight, Darren, at Moonee Valley, wet old Moonee Valley. I don't think it'd be a place where he'd be sitting under the umbrellas on the lawn tonight. We've got Unassailable in the final race. Now, here's a filly that's come back in terrific form. A win at Donald first up, which probably surprises all a little bit. Then a terrific run last start where, she probably hit the front a little early at Warrnambool and got nabbed into a strong headwind. And we found a fillies and mares race at town, and she draws the outside gate. In the final race, T.O. Nugent does claim she's about $10. If she can have any luck in the first 200 where she can find a spot, I don't know whether that'll be close to the lead. I think that'll be the instructions. It should be hard to beat if she can handle the heavy.
Yep, well, I noticed that race tonight at Court to 10. I noticed now that there's 2 scratching. Oh, no, there's more than that. So the top weight's out and Lady of Honour's out, the Hayes horse.
Yep.
So we're in $8 now. So there's a field of 11 now, and she's going to come out at 10. Hawks' horse's favourite, and rightly so. She's $8. I think she's a terrific each-way chance. I think the whitish gate might just suit tonight, because with this rain, even though they're saying it's only, at the moment it's a soft 5, but gee, looking at the radar and the amount of rain that's going to come through in the next 4 or 5 hours until she runs, it'd be hard to imagine that track's not going to be heavy.
Yeah.
She does go well in heavy. She's had 1 start on it for a second. She's had 4 starts on the soft for 3 placings. All right, they're all in the country. But we've always thought that, she was a chance to win an off-season Moonee Valley Friday night race. And, this is a race we've had in mind for some time. The fact that she got beat last start is a blessing, because, and she's carrying 59 kilos. If she had won that, she's probably carrying 60, 61. So, and I think the young rider runs 1.5. So she's going to go around 57.5. And, I give her a good each-way chance.
Yeah, I agree. I reckon too, you might be able to just sit there and track a bit wide, 3 wide with cover. I mean, it's probably the place to be. You're going to have 7 races where they're going to carve up the inside and out to the middle. So, look, it wouldn't be a disadvantage sitting outside the leader in a race like this too, if it all unfolds that way. She's a strong mare and in really good form. And Pat's found the right race at the right time. So, a bit of luck and we'll see what happens. Sunday, we've got nothing on Saturday. Sunday, we've got Roederer at Geelong. The 0 to 58 over 1,733 metres. I think it's Craig Newitt riding. So the horse will know it's had a run. If he was only just beaten last start, he finds a winnable race.
Yeah, well, once again, you'd think it'd be wet. I'm not sure what how he'll go there in the wet, but not a single dad horse. They normally go all right in the wet, but look, he's a bit of a hit and miss character, so you can't go in there too confident. But we'll just have to wait to see what Logan says in his pre-race. But he nearly stole it last time.
He did. Just back to Raise the Colours and Dandy Classic. We mentioned as though Donald's same day on Sunday, but more than likely Paul will scratch both, and they'll go to races the end of next week, potentially Terang or Hamilton.
And that's on the basis that they've gone off the track.
Yep.
Barry's 16 and 17. I think he's thinking he'll keep him for another day.
Yeah.
So what are they saying about Donald? It's a 5 at the moment. They're probably not going to get as much rain up there as what we're getting here. But just to give you a bit of an idea, if I can just find where they are in the races. Must be in a later race.
One's in the first and one's in the second last.
Right, so we go to race 1. So Dandy Classic at the moment in the market is $10 with Michael Poy on from gate 16. And with the emergencies, she would come in 3.
Yep.
So she'd be coming out of 13, but it's already a soft 5.
Yeah, it's a wet track for her.
Yeah, she doesn't handle it, does she?
Paul thought that
and
slow 5.
Dandino was no good on the wet.
Yeah.
Just trying to find Raise the Colours there. She is $21. She's second emergency. Supposed to be coming out of gate 17, so she's $21. So yeah, she's probably not going around anyway.
I think these horses were trying to give every chance and work back into form. You just need to. I won't say what Liz doesn't like to say, but the planets need to align. I won't say tick every box.
No, you've got to give them every advantage. They've got to have every advantage at the moment.
Yeah. So that's that. Now, Wednesday is an interesting runner and one to look forward to in a Class 1 at Sandown, a Dandy Man, second up out to 1,400. He'll lead up Sandown. He'll love the big track there. He was 1,300, I think, first up out to 1,400. There is a 1,600 he's nominated for, but Mitch is really keen on this Class 1, which the Class 1's opposed to a benchmark 64. You can only have won your maiden. So he goes in against basically horses that have only won one race. He's about 6th in line. We haven't got the field yet, but I just love to see him on a big track, and hopefully a track that by then the weather may have settled down and it's a good surface to race on as well.
Yeah, I guess the biggest concern will be the distance, won't it?
Yeah, whether it's far enough, yeah.
Because is that right? He's going into a 1,400?
Yeah, that's the race he certainly picked out. Mainly because of the class compared to a 64, which could be a lot stronger. And he just thinks another 1,400 will round him out nicely before we step out a bit further. I think Mitch thinks he's a winning chance.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's some nice horses in that. There's another Dandino in there called She's a Dandy that won pretty well the other day.
Yep.
It's not a little race, actually. Yeah, my biggest concern will be 1,400, whether, 1,400 is far enough. I'm sort of looking forward to seeing this horse over a bit further. This is on Lakeside, so it normally favours those on speed. Yeah, look, if he wins, he'll be going well, I think, over this trip and distance.
Just hope we can draw. Just hope we can draw a barrier, because we had to go back to nearly last at Bendigo when he drew whatever it was. So it can be the difference between two or three pairs closer if you draw well and not draw well. So anyway.
Yeah, well, he got the 3.2 at Bendigo. Coming out of barrier 7.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the 1,400. I think I'd be more confident if it was a mile plus.
Anyway, no doubt after that I will be stepping out to a mile. So anyway, look, it hasn't been put in concrete. He may go to the mile race, but I know Mitch was pretty keen on Tuesday to go to this race. So that's it, Darren. I know we did speak that we'll have runners towards the end of next week. I think Crackerjack Prince is Wednesday week at Sandown. So that'd be a nice race there for him.
Igniter will be as well.
Yep.
Steinem will be coming up shortly. There's quite a few there ready to kick off. Intense can't be far away.
No, he was going to. He nominated him there somewhere the other day, so he can't be far away. There's trials at Mortlake on Tuesday, so a few of those might trial up prior to going to their races. Yeah. Not much.
Pretty lean week. Underside was probably our best chance, I would have thought, tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll see what unfolds there. It's Cranbourne Cup weekend.
Yep.
It's the 12th of November. I feel that we're only about 2 weeks off all these restrictions being lifted in Victoria when we can get back to the races in a fashion that we'd all like to.
12 days.
So hopefully before probably by the end of the year, we should be all back and up and about. Now, Pete, it is November, and they normally run a Movember in November. What do you know about Movember?
But I've never grown a moustache. Looks shocking with one, I reckon. I know Dean Yendall and a few of those little people get involved, but I haven't seen any. He looks like a little Mexican with his.
Well, I know Jared Birrell's.
Yes.
He's growing one.
See that?
And,
yes.
I did get a photo, and I was under the threat of death not to share it. But I think, Pete, what we'll do here is we'll run a little competition through November for our owners. So for the best or the worst, probably the worst mustache, I think, wins. So if you're doing Movember and you're an owner, you have to be a registered owner. Send us in your photo at the end of the month, and Pete and I will be the judges, and we will adjudicate the worst looking mustache, and whatever the charity is, we'll make a donation to that charity on their behalf.
I did spy Birrells. It looked like a pregnant or squashed caterpillar across under his nose. So I don't know what it's going to be like in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So send them in, and we'll publish them on ATB TV, and we'll make a donation to the cause. Yep. I think it is a pretty good cause. We'll do a little bit more research on it before next week and tell you a little bit more about it. So if there's people out there growing it or trying to grow it, it doesn't have to be. It just has to be horrible, really, Pete, can't it? It's just got to give us a laugh.
That's it. That's all we want.
That'll give us something to think about over the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
And this week we advertised our Dandino Savababe, and we only had 6 years there to go, Pete, and I think we've pretty much got it all sorted.
Pretty well done, Darren. Yep, which is good. So,
and thanks to all those people that bought in.
Yeah, and our first venture with Graham Begg. So we look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, maybe when we get back to the races, you might be able to do a little interview with him, and people might know a little bit more about him.
Sorting out all our trainers on our website. I was interested reading Graham's bio. 15 Group 1s, 85 stakes winners. So he's obviously he was in Sydney for a long time, and he's the son of Neville Begg, who was a legend in Sydney. So there's a rich vein of history there. So, we look forward to it. Graham's more than happy to be involved.
And next weekend, or next Friday, when we do ATB TV, we might have a little story about Andrew Bobbin is the plan.
I'll head up to the Cockatoos and the Kangaroos and our horses up there at Pomona. And, we'll do a little take on Andrew, it's an interesting story, Andrews. He's been everywhere. He's a rugby player, first grade rugby player, as much as he says he only played one game. Yeah. He's worked on TV with Francesca Camati, which was the reason that he's lead into being racing manager with Matt before branching out on his own. But he's very worldly what he's done, and look, just a nice fella that's really good fist of training, and I'd like to think that we'll be involved with him there. But for years to come, you love supporting these young blokes that are out having a crack.
Now, if you're going up there next Wednesday or Thursday, it's probably going to be around 20 degrees.
Beautiful.
So I'll give you a little bit of advice. Make sure you throw in the AeroGuard because the flies are very friendly up that way.
Especially when you've got a lot of sand and a lot of that bracken and all that. Yeah, I'll put the AeroGuard in.
And there was a few about there the other day when I was there. I'd never been there before. The GPS, unfortunately, was about 500 metres out. And I kept doing U-turns before I got to the gate. And in the end, they stand out the front waving at me because they could hear the truck, but they couldn't see it.
Well,
the GPS was out a bit. So
it's one thing when you're out in that countryside, you can hear vehicles coming from miles. So, they would have heard you running up and down the road a few times.
I'm looking around and I'm thinking, well, there's no horse joint here. There's just like sheep paddocks and long grass and crops. And if I had just went over that next hill, as it turns out, I came the long way or the wrong way or the way they don't go. Had I went the other way, I would have found it easy. But it's a pretty impressive little setup. He's got a good team of people there. Recognised a few of the strappers there and had a chat to them. And one thing you notice when you go to some of these places is just the way the relaxation of the team and the relaxed state the horses were in. And I think when you do that little promo on Andrew or Bio, I think our people will really appreciate just what a setup he's got there. And as we're talking during the week, once these restrictions are over and, we obviously that's going to happen right on the eve of Christmas and then everyone's going to have their December, January plans. But hopefully when we get to February next year, we might be able to start to get around some of these stables with you and get you to meet these guys and, have a chat to them and see your horse and see their stables and set up and get back to the, racing full on. Because at the moment we've kind of been doing a remote control racing.
Yeah.
And I think we're all hanging to get back to, racing full on, hands on. And that's what we've got to look forward to next year.
I reckon a little mini bus to Bobbins and then probably a stop over to Vine a vineyard, should I say, on the way home. That might get a few interested.
Might be a 3-day trip, Pete.
Might not get back. No, I agree. We got a few new ones on board that we don't know a lot about. Like even a visit to Lindsay Smith's been on virtually during COVID. Pat Ryan's been with us basically during COVID. Most of our owners would probably never have met him. We're lucky enough we can interact with them, but we also miss out on the social and race day interaction with them. And it's what we're about, really, is being able to go to the races and meet and talk to all these people. So the only ones that'd be happy with all this are the jockeys because we haven't got a video camera under their nose.
No, and I think the other thing is there's a lot of owners in these horses that have probably actually never seen their horse in the flesh, Pete. So, one owner was saying the other day, Hasselhoff's been pretty much racing right through COVID, never got to see it before or during COVID. Street Baby, not many people would have seen Street Baby. Some of these horses, even Miss 10,000, I think we might have got to see it once early in his career. So it's been a long haul. March to November, it's pretty much 18 months now. So, and we're still probably a month away from, getting up close and personal. So I think it's something we want to do, and that is get back hands-on and get back mingling with the owners, trainers, and we'll tolerate the jockeys, but that's just, it's never perfect, is it?
But can't quite have it all your own way. But anyway, that's it.
All right.
Good.
Well, so don't forget to send me in your horrible mows. Send them in to Peter, and we'll whack them up. And then I think Jared Burrell might have a little story about the background on why he's growing a mustache. So we might delve into that a little bit later on.
Yep.
And just find out what's going on there behind the scenes. I know he's a stump grinder, so you'll want to be careful he doesn't lay on the grass because someone will put the stump grinder on his lip.
Is it open just a bit?
Well, thanks for joining ATB TV this week, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week. I'm Darren Dance and the very rude Peter Morganti.
See you guys and ladies.